My very favorite thing about our time together every day, Moan, is that if I come here in a bad or rattled mood, and I am in both of those right now, you have this personality that can just like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Well, if that's the case, then I'm gonna go ahead and get to it because there's no better thing to do than to start the show so we can kind of get to it. You ready, DK? Because they've been waiting on us a little while. You ready?
I'm ready.
I'm gonna ring the bell. Here we go. Hey, you see what I just wrote it on the YouTube chat just a second ago. As soon as it come up, I'm gonna put it up there myself. Okay, you ready?
Go ahead.
We got spicy DK today.
Oh, you too. You too. I am not in a good place. So it's up to everybody to try to pick up the mood around here. We're gonna keep today's show a little bit shorter just to let everybody know here. Moan's got some family obligations. We're gonna make sure that we're handling business, but also prioritizing the family here. Tyler wants to know what's this half gallon.
I saw that.
This is the Turner's iced tea. It's a Pittsburgh thing. In certain parts of the city, it's known as a thug jug, which is great. You can look at it. I mean, this is how you right?
Thug jug. Yeah, that's hilarious, man. What's crazy? Turner's that name, that company was funny. We used to have these drink jungle juices where I'm from, and the company that made them.
Thanks.
No, phenomenal juice. You hear me? But it was Turner's Dairy that made it because Turner was the company that also had a big dairy farm that supplied all the store. At least where I'm from in West Tennessee, Turner Dairy milk is what we drank growing up. And like you having that jug and it's being named Turner, like that's what our jungle juices used to come in. It was that, or like, do you remember the old cartons they used to get juices out of? Yes. Turner was the company that made those, DK. So that I will wonder if it's connected. Probably not, though.
Turner Dairy is first of all, it is a dairy farm. Their main thing has always been milk. They're not a sponsor, by the way. We're not.
Hold up. So is it the same company, maybe?
I mean, I'd be kind of surprised if it wasn't.
Wow, I just saw somebody in here said they're from Bartlett. I'm sure Bartlett wasn't like that also. Bartlett may have gotten Turner Dairy also. Wow, that's interesting.
No, he was just saying he's from Bartlett. He checks in every day.
I know, but Bartlett it's in Tennessee.
Yeah.
It's Bartlett, Tennessee. I wonder if he had Bartlett also, jungle juices and milk.
Rodolfo says, "What's up, Moan?"
You know what? I'll tell you what's up. Number one, I do see that Sticky B. Yeah, you're right. I'm rocking the Buccos today. Yeah. The famous P. Okay. And it's a Cuts jersey. I didn't have to get rid of it.
Good looking shirt.
Did not.
You're saying it's actual Cuts.
Yes, it's Cuts from his first tenure. Yeah, absolutely, DK. You was saying we got to get you up, DK. So guess what, man? Since we got spicy DK, we're going to actually, speaking of Turner, throw some milk on this one, okay? You ready?
Go ahead.
It's this, man. Frenemies. Let's go there. Friend enemies is what we can call it. We're friends, but we're enemies. Me playing Cincinnati, frenemies. Me playing Baltimore, I got some friends on there, but while we're playing, they're enemies. I think it's appropriate today because we are a sports show, specifically Pittsburgh, AFC North, right? Condolences to the Cleveland Browns as Jim Brown passed away today at 87. It was announced by his family. And as legendary of a person he was on the football field, even better off the field, I think it's okay to acknowledge your frenemies when it's somebody great, because I know they did the same thing for us when Franco passed away.
I have made the argument, and I've made it at times very strongly, that Jim Brown is the greatest football player who ever
heard you say that.
And you've heard me say it on this show, so it's not like it's something that's after the fact. My logic in this, and again, setting aside emotion and everything else here, my logic is that greatness is measured against your current peers. How much do you stand out among your peers? Like Reggie White within his generation, what was he?
Gosh.
You don't look at Reggie White's sack numbers and compare them to someone today or to before that, because the game changes. How did his sack numbers compare to other people of his generation? When Babe Ruth was the only person in baseball hitting home runs, or close to it, and he hit his 714, he did it at a time where he was just so far above the rest of the sport that he remains the best baseball player who ever lived.
Yeah.
He'll probably stay that way. Jim Brown, when he was doing what he was doing, he could not be stopped.
Yeah.
There wasn't a game plan. There wasn't a matchup. There wasn't a 10 men in the box. Nothing. It's not that teams didn't have different gimmicks and strategies for him. They were aware of him. He couldn't be stopped.
Right.
Tell me who else in the history of this game that applies to.
In today's game, at his peak, there's two guys that come to mind. It's mostly probably defensive for me, okay? I think Dwight Freeney up there. This spin move for a guy his size, kind of insane. And he's the first one to come in. I know James Harrison is in that conversation too of guys that couldn't be stopped when they needed to. The other one in today's game to me, non-quarterback, let me go there too, okay? Because the quarterback's got to have the team and surrounding parts and all those type of things. Individual guy that can't be stopped. Probably was Von Miller in his prime.
Yeah, you're going to have different guys at different positions. You know, we mentioned just yesterday Mel Blount, who some people still feel is,
I mean,
a cornerback without peer.
That's a cheat code. Yeah,
he's a cheat code, but the game changes. So when you look at someone like, say, Jack Tatum with the Raiders, almost everything that Tatum did to be what Jack Tatum was is 100% illegal today. So you can't compare him. That's not a shot at Mr. Tatum. Okay?
It's not at all.
I mean, what he did to Darryl Stingley and his lack of remorse set the emotion aside here. Just what's on the field. Jim Brown would take the football and could not be stopped.
Yeah,
Earl Campbell did that for a couple of years with the Houston Oilers. Okay.
Yeah.
Barry Sanders couldn't be stopped in his own way as a running back. But to me, when I think of football, and please forgive me for this, or anybody who plays any other position in quarterback, I'm sorry, but I think of the running back. Okay. Because it goes back to the very beginning of football. Okay. And I feel and have felt for a long time that this was the best football player who ever lived.
And that's saying a lot. But DK, what's even better than that is the guy was a phenomenal person off the field too. Literally sacrificing his career, getting on the front lines of a bunch of human things, DK. Just really taking a step when it's hard to take those types of steps. Like, you want to talk about why he was that good on the football field? Well, it's because he was that good as a person off the field too. Like, it ain't many people that I was in awe of seeing. He was one of those people when you saw him. And at that point right there, too, seeing him being golf carted around, in Cleveland and stuff. But the mystique of seeing his face, like, you see his face, you see his hands, you see his skin, like his skin almost look as if it's just, it's tough. It's rugged. Like, he earned the right.
That's good.
Like, his skin earned the right to be on his body. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's really good.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he has that face and look about him like, man, you deserve to be on my body. Get over here. You know what I'm saying? And he is the NFL. And I'm glad even in his later days, they found ways to keep him around. I'm glad he was vibrant enough. And that's one thing I will say, too. He stayed sharp enough to continue being a part of the NFL, the growth of the league. Seeing him in that Super Bowl commercial, you remember?
Oh, yeah, the one Juju was in.
I mean, and all he was doing was sitting there with a cane, right?
He didn't have to do a damn thing.
He didn't do anything.
No.
But how iconic was it? I see some people. Go ahead.
You're seeing talking about the community. One thing to understand too, and to respect about Mr. Brown is that in Cleveland, he was Mr. Cleveland. With all due respect to LeBron James and others, okay, Mr. Brown was Cleveland.
Yes, he was.
He represented the Browns with a passion, whether they were 0-16 or whether they've become at least remotely competitive over the past few years.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to bring up another thing here too, Moan. Whenever we were having all the discussions about racial injustice just 3 years ago, Mr. Brown was front and freaking
was.
center on that. He didn't stay in the back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he had things to say and he said them.
Yeah.
And then he also was visible whenever the Browns were going through their things at their field. He was there in that regard as well. But man, all I want to do now, seriously, all I want to do is queue up a Jim Brown highlight.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I do it with Barry Sanders more than anybody,
But this is what's so fascinating too, DK, which is why, when some people say, shut up and dribble or grab the ball and catch, all those types of things though too, DK, sometimes and I'll say this too, if the message is correct, right, in the world of sports, and people look at sports as like the voice of reason sometimes, right, the figures in sports. He was a voice of reason on a lot of different topics, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of all the things, DK, we've said today, we've mentioned more of his off-field stuff than we have about this run or that run and how he did this against that team. You impact people by what and how you treat them and what effects you have on them. And I know some people get some dopamines when you speak about his play, right? But like how he was as a human being is what we appreciate about him, probably more than almost anything else. Like, not many people willing to get on the front lines the way he was, not just for all people, for humanity, man. We need more of that type of stuff when the message is correct, DK.
Yeah, it's obviously we're literally just finding this out.
Yeah.
Right as the show started here. I'm looking at the NFL's own tweet that says, "We are heartbroken by the passing of the legendary Jim Brown, one of the greatest players in NFL history, a true pioneer and activist. Jim Brown's legacy will live on forever." You are going to find stuff about this man's passing that's going to move you.
Yeah,
it's going to move you today. And Moan, just to reinforce something that you briefly touched on near the beginning of this. When Franco Harris passed, the people of Cleveland, the people of Cincinnati, the people of Baltimore, I saw it come from the AFC North. I saw it come from all over football, extended their love and their thoughts and their prayers to everyone in Pittsburgh who loved Franco. That's going to come today from Pittsburgh in Cleveland's direction.
And you know what? We did the same thing, too, for Baltimore, one of their legends, Tony Siragusa. Gone way too soon, right? Think about how impactful he was to them and what he meant and did to the AFC North, too. So I was okay with DK. You coming in a little spicy today, right? It's all right.
I had no idea until we got on.
But this is also awesome because, like, it's okay to speak about your frenemies when it's all good and mutual. Like Jim Brown, the Cleveland Browns organization, and just, again, the AFC North, man, like, we can respect from a distance when it's on the human side of things.
More respect.
Definitely. Absolutely.
Eric Sneed says he was the first black superhero.
He was.
That's interesting. An interesting way of looking at it. I think that you could also have an argument in Jackie Robinson's corner on that one if you were just isolating it as first. Charles Barley says Jim Brown has been there for racial injustice since the 1960s. That is a point worth making here. I did not mean to reference Mr. Brown as if he just started 3 years ago on this one. He has been a vocal individual.
I got one, and I hadn't even seen this movie before my guy Sticky B says, and don't forget his role in Mars Attack. He was so good. I don't know. I got to go watch that one, but he did flip football into a myriad of things, man. That's what the game will allow you to do if you're good to the game too. And he was real good to the game. An HOF gold jacket, dude, Hall of Famer, man.
Oh, I mean, someone who should have his own wing in Canton. This is, I'll say it again. This is when you're doing a Mount Rushmore of the National Football League. You start with Jim Brown.
Wow.
Okay, you start with him, and then you figure out the other three.
And again,
am I wrong? Tell me I'm wrong.
I wish you were, but you're not. I wish you were, but you're not, DK. And anybody that's a lover of the game of football will tell you that too. You know what I'm saying, DK? So it'll be very interesting to see Coach T's statement on it, and the Rooneys and the Steelers organization also.
Oh, they're all coming. They're all
coming. But I thought it was appropriate, DK, for us to step into that ring and discuss one of the greats of the game. Like he crawled so we can walk and run in this game, man. And I thought, honestly, the style of what Le'Veon had somewhat mimicked him being able to be a tall back, move side to side, not necessarily the juking that Le'Veon did, but it looked the flow of his run. And of course, this year for sure, they will be wearing the patches. They will, I'm sure, pay an homage to what Jim Brown is. And boy, hey, Steeler fans, we got to make sure we get Nick Chubb on the ground fast because he'll be running with the spirit of Jim Brown this year.
Second game of the season?
Yes, sir.
It's Cleveland, although it's here. I believe it's here.
It's at home.
Guys, we're going to be back right after this break with the Hey Moan section. Not feeling all that frivolity today. Let's just do the only segment that matters when we come right back.
That's all of Hey Moan.
It is.
At DK Pittsburgh Sports, we take pride in coverage that connects our city's fans to their favorite teams. Now, that connection's stronger than ever. Introducing our all-new state-of-the-art app. Find expert inside reporting and original podcasts. Check live box scores. Track the latest stats. Chat it up with our community of thousands of fans, all in one place. The new app from DK Pittsburgh Sports. Coverage that connects.
Guys, I want to let you know that at the Get-Go Cafe and Market, there are 3 expert chefs who fine-tune every detail so that every sub, wrap, salad, and burger comes accompanied with what they refer to as craveability. Order your favorite entry at the Get-Go Cafe and Market today. Better believe it. Guys, the show is yours from this point onward. So if you want to talk about Jim Brown, we'll do that. If you don't, we won't. I do want to let you know that if you like and subscribe the show, that helps spread this message to other fans. And now, Ramon, remember I promised you yesterday.
Yeah, you did.
Look at that. Now there's no excuses. To unlock the Ramojis for this show, become a member. All you got to do is type in that URL, dkps.net/join. See how much shorter that is? dkps.net/DK.
When you're good, man, you're good. You said something yesterday and you delivered today. And as our guy just said a second ago, not 1 DK, not 2 DK, but 3 expert chefs, man. Like, name a better look, DK.
Oh, my goodness. This comes in from Joe Arroyo. He says, put this up here, to the Cleveland Browns and their fans in the family of the great icon, Jim Brown. Steelers Nation offers our deepest condolences to the greatest player ever. Not getting any argument from me.
No, you have been on that train for a while.
Should we do a Mount Rushmore? Should we do one?
Of running backs?
No.
Of NFL players? I'll play the game.
Running backs.
I'll play the game.
Okay.
Great. Ooh, Mount Rushmore.
I'll tell you who you can't leave off, and I don't care how much it's going to be blasted by whoever here. You can't leave Tom Brady off. I'm sorry.
That was my next guy.
You just can't do it.
That was going to be my next guy.
Too soon, I know, but still.
Name me something better. Well, you call them the Cheatriots, whatever you want to call them. The guy is surgical. We're talking about all of NFL. So Jim Brown, give me Tom. Give me.
Well, we've got 2 offensive guys, so we're already kind of on the,
I'm gonna say a name. Go
ahead.
The last 2 guys to me, since we're going defensive. Give me Joe Green, and give me. Golly, DK.
See, it's tough. See, when I'm gonna probably have an easier because I'm the NFL filmsologist.
Yeah, you are.
I grew up watching these films of these great legendary players and maybe feel more attached to them. But I will say, and I see somebody right now, Rick Bosworth coming in with Dick Butkus is one. Another one that I was going to mention in that defensive category is LT.
I was just going to say.
Yeah.
LT. Lawrence Taylor.
Now, I have seen people come in with 2 or 3 years of J.J. Watt when he was absolutely mind-bogglingly dominant. But I would say that you want to be careful about doing that. Mean Joe Green is going to get that respect. I think of Mean Joe more for what he did in lifting up the whole team.
Yeah.
Than I think of Mean Joe individually. But on the defensive side of the ball, you will have people who will lie down in front of a moving train to say that the best defensive player who ever lived was LT.
Bruce Smith is in there. I see he's coming through also. I just want to
I mentioned Reggie White earlier.
Reggie White's in there. It was either between Reggie White and Mean Joe Green. Those were, as far as big defenders, like both changed the game. Both were animals at what they were doing, right?
There are a couple names that we haven't mentioned yet that we should. Jerry Rice is in there, but now we're getting into three offensive guys. I've got two. I've got Jim Brown and Tom Brady. I'm having a hard time with another offensive guy.
Me too. But
if there was one, it might be Jerry Rice.
Okay? It may be Jerry, and Jerry Rice is in there. To me, Moss is in there. Moss is in there, although he never got the Super Bowl.
Now, somebody mentions Ray Lewis.
Ray's in that conversation too, man. This is the Mount Rushmore. If you're just coming in,
sweetness.
Because and condolences to Jim Brown, the Cleveland Browns, and Jim Brown's family, man. It's just DK says the greatest football player to ever walk through the NFL. Yeah, sweetness is definitely in there. Barry Sanders is in there too.
Earl Campbell just couldn't sustain it because of the injuries. Just wasn't long enough. But the first 2 years of Earl Campbell in Houston were Jim Brown, except that Jim Brown did it forever.
Yeah. So I just want to read off Lawrence Taylor's just accolades real quick. Number one, we know he's Hall of Fame, right?
Yes, sir.
10-time Pro Bowl, 8-time All-Pro team, 2-time Super Bowl champ. This is the kicker right here that gets it, DK. 1986 AP NFL MVP. He was a league MVP. League as a defender. Okay. 3 times AP Defensive Player of the Year. Rookie of the Year, if I'm not mistaken. Player of the Year. Like, he cleaned up. I don't think he got Rookie of the Year. I'm off on that one. Who won Rookie of the Year over him?
I don't know, but I'm seeing. I don't want to be rude here. I'm seeing too many Jack Lamberts on here. Okay, Jack Lambert wasn't the best player on his own defense.
Oh,
okay. I don't know that he was the third best player on his own defense. There are people within the Steelers' own world who will say that he wasn't the best linebacker on his own defense. That was Jack Ham.
Oh, DK, you're.
Okay.
Say it then.
Well, I'm this stuff's in my wheelhouse here. I'm seeing some Troy. Guys, don't be fans. Not today.
We're talking about the entire NFL.
Here is one that I really wanted to mention today. And that's Johnny Unitas. Now, when I made the Babe Ruth reference earlier, and I said he was so far above his peers at the time, Johnny Unitas, who, man, born here, okay, played his semi-pro football in Bloomfield right here in Pittsburgh, and the Steelers cut him. Don't, okay? But he ends up going to the Baltimore Colts and becomes a modern-day quarterback before there was such a thing.
Yeah.
So from the Pioneer standpoint, Johnny Unitas is the greatest quarterback who ever lived in terms of how much he advanced the position. I would still have to go with Brady over him in terms of overall achievements.
I'm seeing Montana come in. Where's Montana on that quarterback list? Top 5?
He's really high. He's absolutely top 5. So is Peyton.
I didn't realize Montana was such a big runner the way he is. No, I'm thinking of Steve Young. Steve Young was the biggest, was such a mobile quarterback as he was at the Steve Young top 5 or top 10 to you, DK, because you saw more than I did.
Imagine putting back-to-back 49ers quarterbacks on
Is it wrong?
Top 5.
Is it wrong? No, it's not wrong.
I like the people thinking outside the box here too. Here, you say Thomas insists here, and I think he's right. Please do 2 offense and 2 defense, and I think he's right. Football is split that way. Jonathan comes in with Deion Sanders, who's getting some mention as the preeminent cover corner of his generation.
Yes, he is.
I'm not putting someone on there who didn't like tackling. I'm sorry.
What do you want him to do? Tackle or get interception? He was daggone good, man. Jeez, he was daggone good. So Unitas was in Pittsburgh. That's wild.
Born and raised. And well, I mean, technically, he was raised south of the city.
Okay.
Okay, and someone's going to end up correcting me on that, I'm sure.
And that's okay too, DK.
But he was right under the Steelers' roof. He was playing semi-pro football in Bloomfield, a neighborhood of Pittsburgh, as you know.
I know where Bloomfield is.
He was playing underneath the Bloomfield Bridge. Okay,
Wow.
there were football fields down there, and the Steelers had him.
Yeah,
right there.
Namath.
That's a New York thing. Get out of here with that.
I love it, DK.
New Yorkers.
Dick Buckus. I couldn't tell you much.
They never
Mike
win
Drops
anything there.
Dick Buckus. Where are we at? Where are you at on him?
Dick Butkus, I am top 5 all time as defensive player. So I think we're getting closer here. Someone says back to Cleveland and Otto Graham. Graham is a legend.
Yeah, he's up
Don't give me OJ. Okay, character's got to count for something. You saw OJ's on here. Get out of here.
We can't mention OJ when we're talking about Jim Brown today. Okay, not today, Robert. Not today on the high character day. We're not doing that one today. I do like this one from Mark Lancaster. As far as top 5 offensive linemen, Anthony Munoz is in there.
Is that who you'd have up there? I mean, the guys, when you talk about the greatest of the great offensive linemen, people do mention the Steelers' own Mike Webster.
Larry Allen's in that conversation to me. Absolutely. Munoz actually played with his son, Michael Munoz, at Tennessee. You want to talk about a guy that was a technician from the day he came out. He used to just punch the heck out of my chest in college, man, as a young freshman.
Oh, yeah.
I like this one, too, from Ian. Warren Moon.
Oh, boy. If only he hadn't been an Edmonton Eskimo. You know, by the time you want to talk about someone, in addition to being a pioneer as a black quarterback. Okay,
yeah.
Warren Moon comes in. He comes in from Edmonton. He threw a zillion yards up there in the CFL. He makes it to Houston, and he just keeps going, kind of like Kurt Warner going from arena ball into the NFL. Warren Moon, immensely underappreciated.
Yes.
Great football player here.
Great, Ian.
Phil asked, what was a worse decision by the Steelers, cutting Johnny Unitas or not drafting Dan Marino? See, that depends. Are you?
You may know the Marino side more than me. Which one is which though? Marino turned out okay. So did Johnny Unitas.
They kind of turned out okay. So
they turned out pretty good.
You could put them on the same level. What stings people here is that Dan Marino was right in everyone's faces in the modern era at Pitt. Whereas, as I mentioned, with Johnny U, he was playing under a bridge. Bloomfield. Yeah. It's a little bit different. No TV, no nothing. So the Steelers and everybody were more aware of Marino, so it probably stings a lot more.
This one is very fascinating. I just scrolled up and I saw this one, DK. Give me 1 second, man. It was, did I just lose it? Somebody mentioned the greatest kick returner. There we go. And Antoine Manson.
I'm not putting any special teams on here,
I know,
man.
But
I love that there's a
I know, but let's go there real quick. Is it worthy of a guy making it into the Hall of Fame as a special teamer primary special teamer?
I believe so. If the people inside the game, if the coaches and the players treat special teams with the internal respect that all of you always have in your room, did you treat DHB any different than you treated anyone else in that locker room? Captain of the special teams, Darius Hayward-Bay, sorry. Did you treat him any different? Did you treat Jordan Dangerfield any different? Did you treat Danny Smith as a coach any different?
Crazy respect. Yeah.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
So why should we on the outside have the latitude to be different?
Yeah.
Why should me as a writer, if I'm involved in the Hall of Fame process, what gives me the right to be different than you in that sense?
That's fair. Okay, probably you know how they are. First or I mean those ballots, right? Like first or second time through. That's what he's going through right now. I do think he should be in.
Gale Sayers is another one. As long as we're talking about running backs here, cannot be left out of the equation.
Woo, yeah.
So all right. So we're basically. I'm not getting a lot of help here from you guys over here. Okay.
Yeah.
We need 4 players. We got 2 of them. We've got Jim Brown. We've got Tom Brady. I'm going to go to bat for LT.
I got LT on that list.
Okay. Are we looking at – what are we looking at from there?
We need a big or a safety. Who's the big or safety?
And I also want to – because it's defense and because defense has probably changed the least in the NFL between the two positions that I'd still be looking at. I'm still looking at Dick Butkus.
Are you?
Tell me how. Again, people, help me. All of a sudden,
So
you're all
we
going
got
quiet
3.
over here. Don't
we
do that.
we got 3. We got 3, and honestly, like I got to get a roll in a minute, but this is fascinating conversation. We got Jim Brown, Tom Brady, Lawrence Taylor. Oh, I see it. Deacon.
Yeah, I see Deacon Jones on there as well.
I see Deacon Jones.
Yeah, no one's going to like the fact that we don't have a Steeler up here, but
I tried to split it between either Reggie White or Joe Green,
and that's where Brian comes in too.
Yeah.
You know what? If we're going to be Pittsburghers and people who have been affiliated with the Steelers in one form or another all our lives, we could make it. But to me, one of the things that's always been most admirable about the Steelers and their legacy is that they wouldn't have someone on this Mount Rushmore. But if you made a Mount Rushmore of teams, who are your 4 teams? Who's the first team you put on there?
Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, just like Mr. Brown would be the first one on
seriously.
here. As I mentioned at the outset of the show, we have to go because he's got a family obligation. Ramon does, and I've got to be over at PNC Park to cover Pirates versus Diamondbacks here. But are we good with this? Are we good with this list?
Tom
Brady,
Jim Brown,
Dick Butkus, Jim Brown, and Lawrence Timmons.
Taylor.
Oh my God, that's what I call, because we all called Lawrence Timmons LT.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
geez.
yeah.
Did you hear that just come out?
I did hear that. I knew I almost said it earlier.
Oh, no.
This is fair, too. If we're talking about phenomenal teams, I ride with that list. I probably put the Giants in.
The Cowboys on there.
Yeah, I probably put the Giants in. This is very fascinating.
The Giants go back to the beginning, too.
Yeah, I put the Giants in on that list.
Cowboys would hype themselves onto there, but that's Chad wins for the day, by the way, with this one. Troy's hair would look good on Mount Rushmore.
That's what The Rock is built out of, Troy's hair. See, no, Brian, I see this one coming in, DK, as we about to get ready to roll. Brian, not today. We can't let you say that one because he's that good.
Yeah, I know. But I'm sorry, man. There's too much there, and somebody should have made at least a parenthetical mention of Ed Reed too. Probably more so than Ray Lewis. This is wow. We could do this one some other day too, Moan. But I want to repeat here, without speaking for anybody else, but just from myself here, the deepest condolences to the Jim Brown family, to the Cleveland Browns family. And really, Moan, to the football world.
I was going to say to the NFL, football world. Absolutely, man. It wouldn't shock me, as I just got a text from Kevin Colbert right now, man, that it wouldn't shock me if the NFL did something league-wide for a guy like Jim Brown.
Oh, I think you're going to see something special. You're going to see it on NFL Network. You're going to see ads. You're going to see remembrances. There's a football life. You're going to see a whole day, one of those marathons.
Worthy.
Yeah. Wow. Greatest football player ever.
That's high praise, and it's warranted too.
All right, guys, we're going to do this again on Friday.
Monday.
What good am I?
Spicy DK. What we got going on?
Oh, I got spiced out in a hurry here by this news. So, football is all one big family. As Moan was saying about frenemies and so forth, it really is, and our hearts go out to the whole Cleveland community. That's a loss that we just experienced here in Pittsburgh just a few months ago.
It is.
All right, guys, let's do it again Monday.
Later. Happy weekend.
No frivolity today. Look at you with the sunglasses. See, you're always chill.
Might as well just be cool. I need you to be chill the rest of this
season. I know. I'll be fine.
Slow to act.
I'll be fine. Baseball chills me in a weird kind of way because baseball, when I'm watching it, just consumes my life. And all the stuff that had been bothering me, it's just like any sport that I'm covering, I just all the way in, you know?
I'm with you.
All right. Take care of your family.
See you, DK.
All right.
See you, good people.